Nearly 60 years after her death, Marilyn Monroe remains one of the most recognizable and enigmatic figures in Hollywood history. Her beauty and charm captivated millions, but behind the glitz and glamour was a tragic, complex, and deeply troubled woman. Monroe's life was shaped by hardships, heartbreaks, and secrets that remained buried for decades. Today, we uncover the untold truth of Marilyn Monroe, the woman, the legend, and the mystery that still haunts Hollywood. Born as Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1st, 1926, and later baptized as Norma Jean Baker, Monroe's early years were filled with uncertainty. She never knew the identity of her father. In her unfinished memoir, My Story, she recalled her mother showing her a picture of a man resembling actor Clark Gable, but his name remained a secret. This mystery would linger in her mind, and fate would later place her opposite Gable in her final film, The Misfits. Her childhood was a far cry from the glamorous world she would later inhabit. Raised in foster homes, Monroe developed a deep sense of abandonment that would affect her relationships for the rest of her life. She once remarked, "I never quite felt like I belonged to anyone." This longing for stability and love was something she would chase, often unsuccessfully, throughout. Monroe's mother, Gladys Baker, suffered from severe mental health issues and was institutionalized shortly after Monroe's birth. As a result, the young girl was placed in the care of foster parents. She would move between 12 different foster homes, experiencing neglect and even sexual abuse. At times, she lived in an orphanage where she felt abandoned and unloved. The instability and trauma of her youth left permanent scars, shaping her struggles with anxiety and depression in adulthood. Monroe often spoke about the loneliness she felt growing up. She developed an early fascination with Hollywood and dreamt of a life where she was wanted and adored. But reality was harsher than fantasy. The fear of being abandoned never truly left her, and it influenced many of her relationships in the years to come. She once said, "Dreaming about being an actress is more exciting than being one." This longing for something more would propel her into fame, but it would also leave her feeling unfulfilled despite her success. At just 16, Monroe was faced with an impossible choice: return to the orphanage or get married. She chose the latter, entering a marriage with James Dougherty, a 21-year-old neighbor. While Dougherty hoped for a traditional marriage, Monroe had bigger dreams. As he left for the Merchant Marine, she found work in a defense plant, where a photographer discovered her. Soon, modeling and acting became her escape from a life she never wanted. Their marriage ended in divorce in 1946, paving the way for her transformation into Marilyn Monroe. Years later, Dougherty would claim that Monroe had changed completely after stepping into the spotlight. He recalled, "She was no longer my Norma Jean. She was Marilyn Monroe now." This transformation wasn't just physical, it was psychological. Monroe had created an entirely new persona, one that was dazzling, confident, and alluring. But at her core, she was still the same girl searching for love. Monroe's journey in Hollywood was far from instantaneous. She started as a model, then took small, often unnoticed roles in films. But she was determined, studying acting, networking strategically, and carefully crafting her public persona. Her breakthrough came in 1950 with The Asphalt Jungle and All About Eve, which put her on Hollywood's radar. However, her sensual image often overshadowed her talent, pigeonholing her into the dumb blonde stereotype. She studied method acting with Lee Strasberg, proving her commitment to the craft. Despite the industry's resistance to take her seriously, she fought for roles that would showcase her range. Monroe wasn't just a actress, she was an actress. Desperate for money in 1949, Monroe agreed to pose nude for photographer Tom Kelly for a mere $50. These photos would later resurface in Playboy's inaugural issue in 1953 without her consent. Instead of hiding from the scandal, Monroe took control of the narrative, admitting she had done it out of necessity. Her honesty only fueled her popularity, proving that even bad publicity could be leveraged for success. At a time when Hollywood's studio system controlled actors' every move, Monroe's decision to own her past instead of denying it was groundbreaking. It set the stage for modern-day celebrities who now navigate scandals with strategic transparency. Rather than let the scandal ruin her, she used it to propel herself into the public consciousness, demonstrating that she was a force to be reckoned with. Baseball legend Joe DiMaggio fell for Monroe in 1952, and the two married in 1954. However, their love story was anything but a fairy tale. DiMaggio's jealousy and desire for a traditional wife clashed with Monroe's rising fame. The breaking point came during the filming of The 7-Year Itch, when Monroe's iconic subway grate scene enraged him. Allegations of domestic abuse surfaced, and Monroe filed for divorce just 9 months into their marriage. Despite their tumultuous relationship, DiMaggio never stopped loving Monroe. He was one of the few people who stood by her during her darkest moments. After her death, he arranged for roses to be delivered to her grave 3 times a week for 20 years, a testament to a love that was both passionate and painful. Despite being typecast, Monroe was far from a passive player in her career. She studied acting rigorously under Lee Strasberg at the prestigious Actors Studio, determined to prove her depth as an actress. Frustrated with being underpaid and underappreciated, she co-founded Marilyn Monroe Productions in 1954, becoming one of the first women in Hollywood to take control of her career. This rebellion led to a new. On August 5, 1962, Monroe was found dead in her home at just 36 years old. Official reports concluded an overdose of barbiturates, ruling it a probable suicide. However, inconsistencies in witness statements fueled conspiracy theories. Some believe she was silenced due to her alleged affairs with John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy. Others suspect foul play involving the mafia or Hollywood elites. To this day, the truth remains elusive. Monroe was far more than a sex symbol. She was a woman ahead of her time. She fought against a male-dominated industry, redefined fame, and left behind performances that continue to captivate audiences. Yet, her personal struggles remind us that even icons have demons. Her life was a paradox, a star adored by millions, yet deeply lonely. A woman who played the role of the world's happiest blonde, while privately battling darkness. Monroe's story is a cautionary tale of fame's price, but also an inspiration, a testament to resilience, ambition, and the power of owning one's narrative. Even in death, Marilyn Monroe remains unforgettable. If you or anyone you know is struggling with mental health, seek help. You are not alone. Like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below.